Hello, everybody. Brian Engelman here with the New American Media. This is an episode of the Agree to Disagree show. Before we get into it, make sure that you're following us in all of the places, the Facebook page, the groups, Instagram.com/the New American Media, Twitter at American_media_, subscribe, YouTube.com/the New American Media. We started vid.me/the New American Media, and you can help us out at patreon.com/the New American Media and contribute to more independent journalism getting out there. I'm going to get into it really quick because that vid.me platform is still only limiting us to 10-15 minutes until we get our account verified, despite all of our attempts to do so, and because YouTube is demonetizing and censoring and they're hiding our content. So it's a long story. I won't bore you with it, but I want you to follow us on all these platforms. This episode today is going to cover the hurricanes. The whole West Coast is on fire. We had a 9-point-something earthquake in Mexico. The point is, wherever you live, whatever the conditions are, whether you're talking hurricanes or riots or floods or fires or killer bees, you need to be ready in case. Justin and I have had conversations in the past about this very topic, so you can go on the YouTube channel and look around. We have extended conversations for maybe 2 hours plus about this topic, but we're giving you the crash course today. Justin King is joining us. He is the editor of the Fifth Column. He also works closely with the Anti-Media and the Pontiac Tribune and the Greed Media and a whole bunch of other things. Justin, thank you for joining us on the program again today, sir. How are you?
Doing great, doing great.
Yeah, I'm talking fast because we only have so much time to get into all of this. That was a quick minute-and-a-half intro, but man, Justin, you and I were talking off air, and you were saying that it seems like, in your experience, people have painfully, regrettably forgotten the most basic, core, common components of taking care of themselves in case of a disaster. So let's just jump into it. What is some of the stuff that you've been noticing from people that they're not doing right, that they need to start doing if they want to take care of the things that they actually need?
Food, water, shelter, medicine, and then one that blew my mind, especially in Texas, a pocket knife, some kind of knife, something to cut with. These are things you have to have. And then, from there we can get into it further, but before I even forget, another issue we had is flood water is not like any other water out there. Your Sawyer mini filter won't work. You know, it has chemicals in it. It has a bunch of stuff. Your life straw is not usable. You've got to actually have stored water, or you have to go through a long process to purify that flood water. It's got gas. It's got all kinds of horrible stuff in it.
Well, we have our buddy Greg McWhirter. He was down there volunteering in Houston. Apparently, all the feds pulled out in the middle of the night. They didn't tell all the volunteers that were down there, and they're finding cholera, E. coli, huge contamination outbreaks that were becoming very dangerous, and they left without even telling all the other volunteers what was going on, which was really shady. But, you bring up a really good point. You don't want to just pop your life straw into flood water. You're talking that's really, really contaminated stuff. So let's just talk to the person that really screwed up and didn't have a game plan, doesn't have any supplies to at least get them through a week or two. What do they do to get water? If you're in a really bad spot right now, what do you do if you can't go to Walmart and just get some cases of water?
You're going to have to filter it first. You're going to have to get the contaminants out of it first, which you're going to use charcoal, activated charcoal. Try to get any the chemicals out of it. And understand this is last ditch. All right, it's better to try to catch rainwater. It's better to do anything other than this because you're going to have to go through it, and then you're going to have to distill this. If you don't have water, the odds of you having the stuff to distill it are pretty slim. That's why this is one of the few things that you always need to have a few gallons of water in the house at all times. It's not like it really goes bad. Even if it does, pass the expiration date, it's going to be better than flood water.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so weird trying to have this conversation. It's like, are we talking to the people that they screwed up by not having some supplies, or are we talking about people to warn them, using this as a case in point to not end up in that situation? I guess it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. The catchment of rainwater, there's a lot of rain barrels. A lot of cities are giving you the option to, they'll give you rain barrels at a discount, and then other cities will throw you in jail if you're collecting rainwater. It's a weird world we live in, trying to figure out what the best path is. But Yeah, obviously the water is one of the most important things. Why did you bring up a knife? What is the main? Obviously, I carry a knife too. It's I use it for gardening. I use it on a daily to open packages. It's just a useful
Right?
tool, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. There were people there that, I mean, we our guys would bring them MREs or whatever in the old brown packages. They wouldn't be able to open them. They didn't have anything cut with. I mean, and you need to put together a bag. Everybody needs to have a bag with. I mean, even if it only has a couple of gallons of water, a pocket knife, and like a 2-week supply of whatever medications you need, you can survive off that. You can be hungry, but you'll survive. You know.
Right.
But it's just that was a surprise. I did not expect to run into that problem in Texas, of all places. I thought they all had guns and knives all the time.
Yeah, it's like in the it's like when the babies are born in the hospital. You know, everybody gets their pocket knife. You see it some places where they get the football or the pom poms in Massillon, Ohio, home of football. But yeah, in Texas, you figure they get a standard issue knife as soon as they're born. But yeah, I mean, these are the times where we have to kind of take a look at what we learn from the situation. We didn't think that we have to remind people about knives, but here we are reminding them. I didn't think we had to remind people about not trying to hold their truck up in the wind, but we shared a video at the New American Media yesterday or the day before. It's this guy trying to hold his truck up. I mean, I'm talking like a container truck, a box truck, trying to hold it from blowing over in the wind, and then it flips over and crushes him. I assume the guy got killed. You know, I mean, it's just, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've been seeing at this point, other than not having a knife or having the proper supplies, as far as maybe evacuation or maybe leaving their pets behind? Like, what kind of stuff are you seeing that we need to talk about?
Okay, yeah. Leaving the pets behind was a big one, because what happens is people are like, oh, well, we'll evacuate and we'll come back and get them. It's not going to be that bad. If you're leaving, take them with you. Because then what happens is the storm does hit, it is horrible, and you got to go back and get them. In fact, and I got to give it to this guy. This one guy reached out. He's like, look, man, I don't know how to get to the I need help. I got to get a boat. I got to get something. And because he left the cats, didn't think it was going to be a big deal. His wife was extremely upset. And this guy was moments away from actually like trying to paddle out there on an air mattress, like that you sleep on.
Oh boy. Well, hold on. Those air mattresses. Yeah, those air mattresses don't last for 2 usings, and I probably have about 6 of them that are busted up in my storage unit, just taking up space. Those things don't last, let alone function as a as a seaworthy mode of transportation. But yeah, I mean, that's what people are kind of half thinking this stuff through. They're like, oh no, I can ride it out. And then you see the destruction, you know, in Puerto Rico, some of these pictures that are coming in from the Caribbean. I mean, these are shells of former homes. Obviously, their building codes are probably way below standard to what we do today in 2017. But, you know, I don't know what it is about people trying to be tough or tough it out and think that they're going to get through this stuff okay. I mean, when would you say it's time to evacuate versus trying to ride it out? Because there have been a lot of false alarms over the years, and then people get a little lazy because of it.
Yeah, that's something everybody has to decide for themselves. You know, if you're a single guy that just graduated SEER, ride it out. You'll be all right. You know, if you've got a family of 8 and half of them are under the age of 4, you probably need to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. It's that kind of thing. Another big issue that we had, luckily none of our people, but especially in floods, again, this is something I can't believe we have to tell people. If you find a body, don't touch it. Okay? It's that simple. The cholera issue that you brought up,
yeah,
that stemmed from people not knowing that after, you know, a couple of days in the water, you can't just pick a body up and move it.
We don't need to get too graphic on that, but yeah, I guess let's just leave it there. If you see it, don't touch it. Don't get just.
I mean, you knew that as a kid. I mean, you didn't go and when animals or anything. So just apply the same thing. And then as far as a question I'm getting a lot of right now because of the fires, if it has to do with oxygen, the amount of oxygen, a gas mask doesn't help you. There's this thing going around right now. People think they need gas masks. yeah, it's going to filter out some of the dust and the particulates and stuff like that. But it's not going to help you in the sense of it's burning up all the oxygen. There's no oxygen in that canister. It just filters what comes through. If there's not enough oxygen to breathe, it doesn't help.
Okay, well, yeah, and I guess that kind of comes down to people that get some gear and they've heard a few things or watched a couple movies and they think they got it, but until you actually have to break out your gear and use it, there are severe limitations to what you think's happening. I mean, this isn't an oxygen tank to keep you breathing, like you said. This just filters some of the crap out of the air. What's your main advice for people on the West Coast where stuff's all catching on fire? Like, it's so weird. Like this always happens. You get all of the massive flooding and way too much rain in the Southeast, and it's too dry in the Northwest. It's like, man, can't you just use some HARP technology and steer that over and put the fires out on the West Coast? I mean, it doesn't work that way easily, but in my mind, I'm waiting for that day we can do it. So, what is your main piece of advice for those people that are dealing with fires instead of floods?
Get out. Fire, water is one thing. If the water touches you, you're gross. If the fire touches you, you're dead.
Right.
Get out. And with the winds and the way all of the way it spreads and how quickly it can spread, there's no predicting it. You're not going to be able to say, oh, well, it'll miss us, or we're just going to get burned a little bit. Not like a hurricane. I can sympathize with people that ride out hurricanes. I do when I'm in Florida. But when it comes to a fire, get out. Just go.
Well, look, we're getting close here. We only got a couple minutes left. Thank you for joining us again. By the way, where's the best place you want people to follow you at? Where do you want people to check out your stuff?
The fifth column. And if you're listening to this conversation, go to the Tradecraft section. And if you don't want to take the time to stock up and supply yourself, go to our Patreon, and we'll do it for you. So, there you go.
Yeah, I really do like that, the Tradecraft section. It's a lot of useful information. Your background is a unique one. We don't have time to get into it now, but you're one of the people that have some experience in this stuff. So let's maybe wrap it up on that point, the experience you have with moving people and advising people to get out. Look, I mean, maybe we're talking to the people that are dealing with Irma and Jose on the way, the hurricanes or Category 4 storms, whatever, or they're getting close to the fire, the fire's getting close to them, what have you. What is the main stuff people need to do to put their plan in place to actually be competent enough to have the gear that they need to get their family out safe? What do you recommend they do so that they can be able to do this in 5 minutes notice, 10 minutes notice? Because really, sometimes that's all we have.
One, if bag it up beforehand if you can. Keep your stuff bagged up, buy it, keep it separate, put it off to the side. If you can't do that, make a checklist and always keep trash bags in the house and just run through and grab it all. And then as far as when you're making that, something that everybody forgets are your documents.
Yeah.
Make sure you take those with you. And fire or flood, they're gone. So make sure you get that.
Absolutely.
And if you have a wife, make sure you get the photo albums. Because if you don't, she'll be pissed.
Happy wife, happy life, right? No, very good. And another point on those documents, you can also make some digital copies. If that's the easiest way to do it, and for whatever reason you're not going to grab the physical ones, at least get digital copies, put them on a USB drive, put them in something waterproof as a canister or container, and take those along with you as well. Justin, look, man, like I told you off air, we've been meaning to have a follow-up conversation for a very long time. Regardless, every time we say, yeah, we'll get right to it, and then a couple weeks pass, couple months pass. So thank you for jumping in with us today for a really quick hit. This is kind of a what people need prepping course 101, just some basic reminders. And what I'm taking away is don't touch bodies, make the wife happy, take your photo albums, and carry a knife. And the rest of it, I think, is common sense. But man, thank you so much for joining us. We will do a more long-form interview again sometime soon because you're one of the more interesting people on Facebook to follow.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Good luck to you. Keep all of your crew safe. Send my love, and I'll talk to you again soon.
All right.
All right. Take care.